Reports began circulating that Ben Shephard, the ever-smiling, ever-gracious host loved by millions, had allegedly been involved in a deeply personal altercation, one that shocked even those closest to him. While details remain unclear, insiders claim the incident left his wife, Annie, completely blindsided and emotionally shattered. For years, Ben Shephard has represented something rare in British television, a man both admired and trusted. Whether on Good Morning Britain, Tipping Point, or This Morning, he's been the face of warmth, intelligence, and reliability. But behind the cameras, friends say the Shephard family has been weathering a private storm, one that has quietly tested their love, their loyalty, and everything they once believed was unshakable. Ben and Annie Shephard have long been considered one of television's most enduring love stories. They first met at university, long before the fame, the bright lights, and the daily grind of live television. He was ambitious but grounded. She was calm and compassionate, someone who understood him in a way few others could. When Ben spoke about Annie in interviews, his tone always softened. "She's my anchor," he once said. "The reason I can do what I do is because she holds everything else together." For decades, that appeared to be true. Together, they raised two sons, Jack and Sam, building a quiet private life far removed from celebrity chaos. Annie worked as a fitness instructor and charity advocate, while Ben continued to rise through ITV's ranks, always balancing the roles of family man and broadcaster with remarkable grace. To the public, their marriage looked flawless, but behind the cameras, as one friend later admitted, there was more going on than anyone realized. The turning point, insiders claim, came earlier this year, when Ben's professional life reached new heights, but his personal world began to quietly crumble. Sources close to the couple revealed that Ben had been struggling to balance multiple commitments, hosting Tipping Point, Good Morning Britain, This Morning, and several charity ventures, all while trying to remain the husband and father he prided himself on being. Annie, ever patient, reportedly began feeling the strain. She missed him, one insider shared. He was constantly away, either filming or preparing for the next project. It wasn't that he didn't care, it was that he cared too much about everything. But even the strongest marriages can bend under pressure. By late spring, whispers began circulating among ITV colleagues. Something had gone wrong behind closed doors. One evening, during a charity gala in London, an incident allegedly occurred, a confrontation involving Ben and another attendee, which escalated far beyond what anyone expected. The details are unclear, but those present described the atmosphere as tense, heartbreaking, and completely out of character. For Annie, the aftermath was devastating. She reportedly found out about what happened not from Ben himself, but from someone else, a friend who believed she had a right to know. That moment, one insider said, broke her. Her first reaction wasn't anger, it was disbelief. For years she had believed that no matter how busy life became, their connection would remain unshaken. But suddenly that certainty was gone. She couldn't understand how something like this could happen, said one close friend. Ben was always the calm one, the composed one. Seeing his name involved in such an incident, it shattered her trust, even if only temporarily. Those close to Annie say she spent days alone, avoiding calls and social media. She needed space to process, to protect her children, and to decide what her next step should be. Meanwhile, Ben carried on working. Viewers noticed nothing unusual, the same bright smile, the same charm, the same quick wit. But insiders say it was all an act. He was struggling inside, said a colleague. He'd turn up to the studio, do the job perfectly, and then just go quiet. You could see the weight in his eyes. Privately, he was desperate to repair things. Friends say he wrote Annie long letters, apologizing for what had happened and trying to explain himself. Whether it was a misunderstanding, a moment of weakness, or something deeper, he wanted her to know one thing: he was sorry. But trust once cracked is not easily repaired. Annie reportedly told her friends that she wasn't sure she could just move on. She needed to understand the why, the reason behind it all. And for a woman who had spent her entire life avoiding the spotlight, being thrust into this storm was unbearable. Fans of Good Morning Britain and Tipping Point began picking up on subtle changes. Ben seemed quieter on set, more introspective. He was still kind, still composed, but the lightness was missing. Social media filled with comments. Ben doesn't seem himself lately. He looks like he's holding something back. Is everything okay at home? Rumors began swirling. Some tabloids exaggerated, others speculated wildly about his marriage. But Ben said nothing. And perhaps that silence said everything. In private, Annie reportedly confronted him, not with rage, but with heartbreak. She wanted to know the truth, every detail, every word, every decision that led them to this point. Those who know her say she's not the type to walk away easily. She believes in family, in forgiveness, in rebuilding what's broken. But she also believes in honesty, and this time she needed it more than ever. One friend described their emotional conversation as the hardest night of their lives. They both cried, the source said softly. There was no shouting, no blame, just two people sitting across from each other, realizing how fragile love can be. Weeks passed. The public had moved on, but the Shepherds were quietly rebuilding. Ben reportedly scaled back on extra projects, focusing instead on time at home, cooking family dinners, walking the dog, spending evenings with Annie and their boys. His priority shifted, said an ITV colleague. He realized that success means nothing if you lose the people you love. Annie, for her part, began to heal. Slowly, she started appearing alongside Ben again, first at a charity event, then at a family gathering. She smiled, but her eyes carried a quiet strength. Those who close to her say she chose not to walk away because she saw genuine remorse. Ben owned up to everything, one friend explained. He didn't make excuses, and that made all the difference. When photos emerged of the couple together again, fans were relieved. Many praised Annie for her dignity, calling her the definition of grace. Others commended Ben for facing the storm head-on, rather than hiding from it. But beneath the surface, there remained a lingering question. Would their marriage ever truly be the same? One ITV source said, they've rebuilt something new. Maybe not what it was before, but something real, more honest, more human. As the months rolled on, Ben began speaking more openly in interviews about balance, love, and mistakes. Without naming details, he hinted at the lessons learned. I think we all have moments where we lose sight of what matters most, he said during a charity talk. But the beautiful thing about life and love is that it gives you second chances if you're brave enough to take them. The audience applauded, but those who knew the full story understood it wasn't just a quote, it was his truth. Friends say Annie has emerged stronger than ever. She's focused on wellness, family, and using her story, quietly and privately, to support other women going through difficult times. She never wanted sympathy, she just wanted peace. And now she's finally finding it. Those who've seen them together recently describe their connection as deeper, quieter, more grounded. They walk hand in hand again, not because they're trying to prove something, but because they genuinely found their way back. In an era where celebrity marriages often collapse under scrutiny, Ben and Annie Shephard's story reminds us that real love is messy, but it's also resilient. Behind every perfect photo is a human story. Behind every smile, a silent battle. Ben may be the one in front of the camera, but Annie, the quiet, steady presence beside him, has always been his greatest strength. and perhaps that's why they're still standing. The story of Ben and Annie Shephard isn't about scandal, it's about survival. It's about two people learning that love isn't defined by perfection, but by perseverance. And in a world so quick to judge, maybe that's the lesson we all need to remember, that forgiveness, grace, and quiet strength are sometimes the most powerful responses of all. As the Shepherds continued to move forward, one thing is clear: they've weathered the storm. And though their journey has changed them, perhaps it's also made their love more real than ever before. If you've been following this emotional story, make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss any updates as more details unfold. And in the comments below, tell us what you think. Can love truly survive when